Attention, New Yorkers! Stop acting so stupid!
Hey, what's up, world? Hope you're all doing alright. Hope you're all hanging in there amidst all of this complete madness and chaos. Remember, much of what's going on is meant and designed to throw you off balance, so that you can't walk the fine line that we're supposed to be walking in these harsh times. Anyway, let me not spend too long getting to the point, because in my last video was like 56 minutes long, something like that. The average view duration was like 19 minutes. And I didn't even get to the main point of the video, to the real juicy stuff, until probably like the 36 to 40 minute marker. So I put all that time into that last video, and I'm pretty confident not a single person heard the most important point in the video. Like the whole reason I even made the video. Put like days and days of work into that video. I know it probably doesn't seem like that, but I did. So anyway, let's get right into this video. What I'm going to be showing in this video is that the US government is giving like $30 million of our tax dollars every month to an organization that pretends to be giving aid, but is actually giving death. Okay, that's just like the synopsis of this video. Our government giving $30 million of our tax dollars to an organization that pretends to be like a charitable, benevolent organization, but that is actually satanic and as malevolent as you can possibly imagine. All right, that's what I'm going to be showing in this video. So let's get right into it. And by the way, the head of this organization is this guy. I'm going to be looking at this interview very briefly, but I have this paused here because you can see he's got some shit on his face over here. Some pretty heavy-duty plastic surgery going on here. I don't know what the fuck's going on with his face here, but it looks like a soulless demon wearing a rubber mask. Okay, this is the head of the organization. By the way, this guy is 20-something. Actually, I don't know his exact age. Let's see what his age is. In this interview, at least, he's 20-something. This is 13 years ago. So in this interview, he's supposed to be in his 20s. That tells you what kind of soulless demon we're dealing with here, okay? So this revelation was revealed to me in this Al Jazeera article. And it doesn't even like directly mention it, but it gives enough information to pique my interest and to then cause me to then go and investigate this stuff for myself. So dozens killed by Israel at aid site in Gaza, children dying of malnutrition. More than 85 Palestinians have been killed, including 30 aid seekers in Israeli attacks on the enclave since dawn. Okay, so this article came out yesterday, July 12th. Today is July 13th. So yesterday, just from the publishing of this article to dawn, 85 Palestinians were killed. I believe it was updated this morning. It's over 100 now. Many of them are children. Right now, before I get into this article, I just want to say that I've been noticing more and more articles about Israel killing Palestinians who are seeking aid. And I didn't think anything suspicious about it, or I didn't suspect anything of it until I read this article, and it was revealed to me that over 800 Palestinian aid seekers have been killed since, I believe, May. So just in the last 2.5 months, over 800 Palestinians who were seeking aid. These were people who look basically like these people here. We're talking about skinny, half-clothed individuals who are running around looking for water, looking for food, looking for something, some sort of aid that they can utilize. So anyway, let's get right into this. So at least 87 Palestinians have been killed since dawn in Israeli attacks across Gaza, with dozens of children dying from malnutrition during Israel's punishing months-long blockade as ceasefire talks reportedly stall. Yeah, the ceasefire talks, you mean the talks between the two people who are allies, who are buddies, but are just, pretend to be enemies. Among the victims on Saturday, 14 were killed in Gaza City, 4 of them in an Israeli strike on a residence on Jaffa Street in the Tafa area, which injured 10 others. oh, look, there's a home over there that we haven't destroyed yet. Let's go bomb it. Or we haven't fully destroyed it yet. I'm sure it was heavily damaged. But hey, look, there's some people over there trying to seek shelter in something that we haven't sanctioned as a shelter. Go bomb it and kill them. At least 38 seekers were killed by Israeli army fire north of Rafah, southern Gaza, near the one operating GHF site, which rights groups and the United Nations have slammed as human slaughterhouses and death traps. See, when I first read this, I was like, what the hell's a GHF site and why is only one of them operating? What's going on here? We're going to be looking into that in a second. According to Al Jazeera Mubashir, Israeli forces fired directly at Palestinians in front of the aid distribution center in the Al-Shakahosh area of Rafah. Reporting from Dar al-Balah, Al Jazeera's Hani Mohammed said the Israeli army opened fire indiscriminately on a large crowd during one of the attacks. Many desperate families in the north have been making dangerous journeys all the way to the south to reach the only operating distribution center in Rafah, he said. Many of the bodies are still on the ground, Mohammed said, adding that those who were wounded in the attack have been transferred to Nasser Hospital in Khan Yunis. Well, don't let Israel know, they'll probably bomb it. Amid relentless daily carnage rained upon starving aid seekers and the ongoing Israeli blockade, Gaza's government media office said 67 children have now died due to malnutrition, and 650,000 children under the age of 5 are at real and immediate risk of acute malnutrition in the coming weeks. 650,000, okay? Over the past 3 days, we have recorded dozens of deaths due to shortages of food and essential medical supplies in an extremely cruel humanitarian situation, the statement read. This shocking reality reflects the scale of the unprecedented humanitarian tragedy in Gaza, the statement added. Israel is engineering a cruel and Machiavellian scheme to kill in Gaza, the head of the United Nations Agency for Palestinian Refugees said on Friday. That's interesting. Did anybody hear this get reported on? I didn't hear a single news agency report on this United Nations agency, the head of this United Nations agency, saying this about Israel. Crickets on all of the local news channels, on all the national news networks too, all of them, crickets. As the world body reported that since May, when GHF began its operations, some 800 Palestinians have been killed while seeking aid. Under our watch, Gaza has become the graveyard of children and starving people. This is the head of that agency said. Not the head of this agency, right? So after I read just this part right here, of course, there's a lot more to this article, which I'm probably not even going to get into because there's going to try to keep this video short. Basically, the rest of this article is just talking about how, they're trying to do exactly what we all knew that they were trying to do, which was completely displace everybody that was in the Gaza Strip and the West Bank. Okay, but so after I read just this part of the article, I was like, all right, what the hell is this GHF thing? Okay, it began its operations just in May, and that's when I started to see all these aid seekers being killed. And I know that Israel terrorized all of the other aid organizations out of the Gaza Strip. So I'm like, okay, so there's this new aid company or this new aid organization. I have to learn about this, right? So I basically put into Google, what did I put into Google? I put GHF, Global Hunger Foundation. Actually, what I originally put, this is Google's correction. What I had originally put was like GHF. I thought it had something to do with like hunger. So actually, yeah, that's what I put. Actually, yeah, this is what I put, but this is the name. I'm an idiot. So I put in GHF, Global Hunger Foundation. This is what I assumed the acronym stood for. But then I found out that it actually stands for Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Right, so let's look at this. Let's look at the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. When I looked at this, what I do all the time, I immediately look at like the quick facts over here. So abbreviation, formation, February 2025. I was like, oh, that's odd. They just became a foundation this year, but now they're in the Gaza Strip. That's pretty quick. Okay. So nonprofit organization, active, its legal status active. Its purpose is food security, apparently. Yeah, more like securing the food, making sure it doesn't get to the people that it needs to get to. That's what it really seems like. Headquarters, Delaware, United States. Region, Gaza Strip. Membership, 300 contractors. Executive chairman, Johnny Moore Jr., we're going to be looking at him. Executive director, means of revenue. This was a huge red flag for me. Means of revenue, U.S. Department of State. Expenses, $140 million a month. So I've only been able to confirm, based on other readings, that they're getting $30 million from the U.S. Department of State. Maybe they're getting from other places, other donators, whatever, other backers, and this is a month. I immediately didn't need to read any of this. What I needed to read was who this executive chairman is, right? So I'm like, all right, let me look this guy up. Because what I wanted to know, I'll be completely honest, I wanted to know if there was a certain background to the owner of this. If the owner of this had maybe, how should I say this? If the owner of this had some skin in the game when it comes to being on Israel's side. Let's just say that. So let's read about this guy. So Johnny Moore Jr., right, is an American evangelical leader and businessman who founded the Kairos Company, a public relations firm. So, okay, red flags here. He's a PR guy. He's an evangelical leader, and I'm pretty sure those evangelical pastors are the ones who are always talking about Israel and how we have to support Israel and how they're our greatest ally. Pretty confident, correct me if I'm wrong, but these American evangelical pastors, these American evangelical leaders, they're basically Zionist. They're hardcore Zionist. So this is his background, Liberty University. Then you look at his international religious liberty. You find out that he was condemned in China. You know, he's created a little bit of a name for himself. So he's been banned from going to China because of his statements on the Uyghur Muslims over there, the treatment of the Muslims. In the Middle East, he joined the Los Angeles Museum of Tolerance press conference calling for tolerance and the end of bigotry. Okay, tolerance, end of bigotry. He's using a lot of words, a lot of dog whistles that you find in their narrative. Moore played a key role in the release of the historic Bahrain Declaration calling for rights for religious minorities in the Middle East. Days after the move of the Jerusalem embassy, Moore led a multi-faith peace delegation from the Kingdom of Bahrain on a pilgrimage to Jerusalem. And he was in favor of Trump's moving this embassy to Jerusalem. Of course, we're talking about the United States Embassy. The Israeli embassy, how we moved it to Jerusalem, which is supposed to be a neutral zone. As part of a group of evangelical advisors to President Trump, Moore met with the Saudi Crown Prince and discussed the death of Jamal Khashoggi, as well as human rights issues. What else do we have? Where is it at? I think it was... Of course, he talks about ISIS threat to Christians. He supposedly helped Christians escape from ISIS, who President Trump loved to defend. I'm talking about ISIS, not the Christians. Moore was among an evangelical delegation who met with Egyptian government officials and was the guest of Egypt's president for the grand opening of the Middle East's largest cathedral. He now serves, this is what I was looking for. He now serves on the ADL task force for protecting minority groups in the Middle East. He participated in a panel as part of his work with the ADL on interreligious tolerance in the UAE. What else did he do? Let's see his social justice, right? He has his foreign policy over here. He says that Obama was a failed experiment in American humility, and he advocated for greater American hegemony in the Trump administration, while warning it takes theater to win the White House these days, but it takes temperament to run it. This guy's pretty much one of the shadow figures. Okay, he's one of the shadow characters. He's one of the influencers to these elite. Okay. He was called on European politicians to do more. He has called on European politicians to do more to combat terrorism. You guys got to do more. You got to infringe on more rights. You got to put more money to war machines. Come on, guys. Terrorism is the main problem in our world today. It's not corruption in our governments. Moore wrote that one of the reasons why evangelicals supported Trump's move of the Jerusalem embassy was because they also care about Palestinians. Wow. He repeatedly downplayed the idea that Christian theology is why evangelicals support Israel, and that the real reason is more about geopolitics. Wow. Moore was among a contingent of evangelical leaders who met with the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, a war criminal. Okay, see, the thing is that the Trump's move of the embassy to Jerusalem was like the first step in this entire ball of displacing these Palestinians. Okay, that was like pretty much the sign to Netanyahu, get the terrorists going for this terrorist attack theater that you have going. On immigration, Moore was described by NPR as pro-Trump and pro-DACA. He collaborated with U.S. Representative Nancy Pelosi in advocacy for Dreamers. He was credited, along with other evangelicals, with moderating the president's view on Dreamers. Moore is a noted advocate for prison reform. Trump's prison reform efforts began with a conversation between Moore, Jared Kushner, Ivanka Trump, and Samuel Rodriguez at a White House dinner on the eve of the National Day of Prayer. You see, it's because this guy is a PR expert. Okay, this guy doesn't actually really give a shit about any of that stuff. Remember, he's a businessman also, and his business is in PR. On the issue of religious liberty, Moore offered to meet with Pope Francis after a Vatican newspaper attacked American evangelicals in order to build bridges between evangelicals and Catholics as it relates to immigration, religious persecution, and other concerns. He advocated for the repeal of the Johnson Amendment. This one's brilliant. This is actually one of my favorite ones. He advocated for the repeal of the Johnson Amendment, which bars the endorsement of political candidates by nonprofits. So it's like, darn, we just got to get more corruption in there. So Moore condemned racism. This is another one. Moore condemned racism, white supremacism, and anti-Semitism in the immediate aftermath of the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, Virginia. Yeah, man, you guys just stop being anti-Semitic over there. Okay, now we have his Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. I'll just skip his presidential elections. We sort of understand that he has a close relationship with Trump. If he's talking to Trump with Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner, like in a private meeting. But check this out. Moore is the director of the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which is in charge of distributing aid in Gaza. See, it seems like it's the only one in charge, really. The foundation has been criticized for the opaqueness of its funding beyond the $30 million USD given to it by the Trump administration. The GHF has replaced over 400 international aid distribution points with just 4 hubs. And all 4 of those hubs are death traps. So how did this happen? How did this happen, you have to ask yourself. They kicked all of these other international aid companies out. Then they got this guy here, and since he's been there with his only 4 hubs, Israel has been using these hubs of his as slaughterhouses, as death traps. That's how they refer to them as, right? Where is it? Yeah, human slaughterhouses and death traps. That's this guy over here. This clown shoe right here. This soulless demon right here. This is him now. This is him in this interview. Honestly, really living what we say we believe. And he's trying to come off like, oh yeah, I'm really living what I say I believe. And then you can see in this video, he definitely got some surgery around his cheek here. It looks like, I don't know, to modify the way his face looks, definitely to modify his cheeks, maybe his chin. But there's definitely some extensive surgery that happened here, unless he's like suffered a major dog bite as a kid in that part of his face.
Throughout the years that he just
let's just watch a little bit of this interview.
took a special interest in, and he threw me in the deep end. That's how he believed in teaching you how to swim, and so.
So what he's talking about here is he's talking about how this other leader basically groomed this guy. Here, remember, he's supposed to be 20-something here.
He gave me a campus church service that had kind of died off, about 150 students in it, and had this wild idea that maybe a peer could teach his peers. And so here I...
Oh man, this guy is just... I can only imagine like some of the awful things that this guy has done. Let me not assume the worst though, but he comes off as a soulless demon. What he's doing right now, or at least what his organization is doing right now in Gaza, is pretty self-evident. So if he's doing that shit now, I'm sure he's capable of doing some pretty horrible things in his past too.
And I'm 10 years into my career at Liberty, and I knew the founder, and I worked hand in hand with the second generation, and Liberty is changing the world.
Yeah, okay, that's enough of that. Let's see what these are. So he talks about hypocrisy. This is the chapter. Hypocrisy, personal story, disappointment, and God's rescue. These are the chapters in this video. How ironic for a soulless demon like this character right here, right? Anyway, I'm going to end the video here. There was more to this article if you want to go read the article yourself. Once again, the article is titled, Dozens Killed by Israel at Aid Site in Gaza, Children Dying of Malnutrition. There's some other awful images here. Is it in this one? No, I think that's in this one. No, it's this one. Yeah, the starving Gazans. Look at this image of Netanyahu. I'll finish off with this. This is a soulless demon right here who's smirking. He knows he's getting away with murder. Look at this sob right here. This son of a bee. And these people, they're really getting away with murder. These people are getting away with murder in front of the entire world. And they've been getting away with murder in front of the entire world for decades. And they know it. They're like, oh, we're untouchable. Kids starving to death over here? No, we're untouchable. We got this guy smirking over here. Anyway, I'm going to end the video here. If I continue this video, I'm probably going to start getting very feisty. So, as always, you all stay positive, stay healthy, and stay sharp.
Ah, fuck it, dude. Let's go bold.